it's not actually raining today. Raining cats and dogs, that English idiom that everyone seems to know so well, but no one knows where it came from. There are theories. Raining cats and dogs. Everyone seems to love it so much, but I've always had a problem with it. I just don't get it. I think people imagine this lovely, cute image of all these little happy cats and happy dogs falling down from the sky going meow, meow, ruff. But I always wonder, well, what happens when they hit the ground? All that death and blood and all those little broken paws. It's this stuff of nightmares. It's horrific. And who's going to clean up all those little furry bodies? That's what I want to know. Raining cats and dogs. Now, if English is not your first language, I've got some news for you. It might not be good news. It's definitely good news for me. And that is that nobody says it anymore. It's just not something that you hear. It's true. So if you stick your head out the window and there's heavy rain and you turn to your friend and say, hey, it's raining cats and dogs, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. And I'm not saying that's a problem. Maybe you don't mind. I just feel that as a friend, I should let you know. So you could say, well, what do people say instead? Well, there is a good verb, and the verb is to pour. I remember a nursery rhyme from when I was a child that went, it's raining, it's pouring, the old man snoring, he bumped his head and went to bed and couldn't get up in the morning, which is a bit silly. Don't know what it's about. I guess it says if you bump your head, don't go to bed. If you do go to bed, don't go to sleep, or you're in trouble. Find a doctor. If you bump your head badly, always go to see the doctor. There's another idiom, when it rains, it pours. And this means that bad things happen together. So imagine your wife or your husband leaves you, and the same day you lose your job. And on the way home, you trip on a dead dog, and you fall and you break your leg, and you'll, when it rains, it pours. And look at this. If I take you to Amazon, just have a look at how many books there are with this as a title. When it rains, it pours. There's just so many of them. I mean, you'd think people would check first, wouldn't you? When it rains, it pours. If you write a book, don't call it when it rains, it pours. Be original. So let's go back to the idiom, raining cats and dogs. If nobody uses it to describe the weather, does that mean that it's dead? Well, not necessarily. I'm going to show you another book. This one I think has got quite a clever title. It's a book about cats and dogs that belonged to kings and queens. Cats and dogs from history, royal cats and dogs. What do you think the title is? You've got to guess. Okay, here it is. The title of this book is Raining Cats and Dogs, but raining spelt R-E-I-G-N-I-N-G. Just like the song, long to live and reign over us, God save the King. Clever, eh? So what we do is we play with the language. I remember another example. My little nephew came home from school a few years ago. He had learned a song. It was stuck in his head. He was singing it over and over again. It went, it's lovely for the frogs when it's raining cats and dogs. So we play with the language, we play with the idiom. It still exists. Let me show you one more example. Because raining cats and dogs is what you could refer to as a visual idiom, you're going to find lots of examples of this on a Google image search. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands of illustrations of visual depictions of this idiom, raining cats and dogs. All of them the happy, cute images, and none of them the horrific death images, which is probably a good thing. So what we're saying here is that although no one uses raining cats and dogs these days to describe the weather, the culture of the idiom is very much alive and kicking and biting and scratching and saying meow. So I hope you find this video useful. There's more coming, so I hope to see you in the next one. Just one more thing before you go. About the thumbnail for this video, I have to say a big thank you to a good friend of mine called Damien. He was making the thumbnail as a favour. He said, could you send me a photograph of yourself holding an umbrella? So I did. This is the photograph I sent him. He said, meh, I don't think it's going to work. Send me another photograph, this time of yourself pretending to hold an umbrella. I sent him this one. He said, that's fine. And this is the thumbnail that he sent me back. And I guess I asked for it, right? But I said, any chance you could give me another thumbnail, but this time with less blood and less death? And I just noticed that there was a cat actually impaled on the on the umbrella here. So he gave me the alternative one, which looks like this. If you're learning English, Damien has a great YouTube channel. It's called Riot Way, and I'm going to include the link below, so check it out. Thanks, Damien, and thanks for you for watching. See you next time. Bye.